Hi, and welcome to a tutorial for our Teacher Suite 4.0 used during Little Hawk Time. The first thing that you're going to want to do is find your Teacher Suite that should have been shared with you. Now, two actual documents or spreadsheets were shared. One should have said like main database, and then the other one was titled Teacher Suite. You are going to want to open the Teacher Suite. You do not need to open the other one. The other sheets are really for my use. They're used to talk to your sheets, but you do not want to open those up. You only want to open the one that says Teacher Suite. So I recommend bookmarking this in your Google Drive, so that way you ensure that you only open this one and not the other one. What I want to do is open up Teacher's Suites here. And let's see, I think what I want to do is, let's see, I made one for Mr. Emmert this year. So I'll just go ahead and use his. When you open yours up, most of you will have one that says that your Teacher Suite is connected to the database. However, if you have a brand new set of sheets that have never been used, you're going to see that this box is actually going to be red, and you're going to want to follow these directions. It's very easy. You click on the red box, you hit allow access, and it turns green, says you're ready to go. The next thing that you're going to want to do is click on to the first tab here, which is homeroom schedule. Now, Jerry doesn't have a homeroom, so I have his set up just to show all students. But if you do have a homeroom, let's say my homeroom is Dr. Arnone, I would pull up my homeroom, and here should be the list of my students in homeroom. Now, the first thing I want you to do is to verify that this is correct and there are not any mistakes. If there are, please let me know, and we will get those fixed. You'll notice that there are two categories over here, work list and D and F list. We'll talk about those in a little bit. Then the next thing you have is your current week, so that will always be purple. So this is this week, and then the next week will also show up if you scroll over, so you can see 2 weeks of request for your homeroom each day. Now, when students come into your classroom, it is okay to project this, and we want you to project this so that they can look easily and see, oh, on Wednesday I was requested by such and such a teacher, and they know that quickly. They have that information to see. So yes, you want to project this. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how to request a student. So I'm going to go ahead and use a student out of Dr. Arnone's homeroom. So let's use, let's say right here, Jose Amador. All right. So I'm going to come over. If we want to request a student, we're going to come on over here to read the Request Students tab. And this is where you input your students you'd like to see. So there's two options. Well, first thing, once you get here, you want to populate these 3 fields up here right away. So activity type is a pull-down menu. You have 2 options, intervention and reteach or enrichment. If you're calling a kid in for reteaching or skill building, it's going to be an intervention reteach. If a student's signing up for an enrichment, an extra special event, then that would be an enrichment. You want to make sure you have the right teacher name and you have the right date. So I'm going to pull in Jose for intervention reteach, and I am, let's say, Mr. Bockelman, wanting to request that student, and I want to request that student for the 31st, Friday. So, easy thing over here is I just start to type in the student's last name, and he should show up. I'm going to click that name, and the following fields should populate. I have the correct student. I know that that student, like we just said, was in Dr. Arnone's homeroom, and they are available, meaning no one has requested them. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit, and you'll see at the top it's running, and since I'm first time into these sheets, I have to do this. So you just click OK, you hit your account, scroll down, hit allow, and then you never have to do that again. And so you'll see it's running script, and it says it's finished, and we should see this change. This will change to Bockelman, hopefully. There we go. So now Jose Amador has been requested by Mr. Bockelman on Friday, 8:31. Now let's see if it worked. So I'll go back to my homeroom schedule, and I was acting as Dr. Arnone, and you can see there's Jose, and he has been requested by Bockelman. The great thing about this is if you already have pre-generated lists, and I'll talk about this in a moment, like let's say I know for some of our music, they like to call in like all the brass or all the violins for a particular day for intervention, reteach, or skill building. So if there's a set group that you like to call in on certain days of the week, you can come over here to My Clipboard and you could type in, let's say, strengths. And you could copy and paste a list of students' names in here, or you could look them up, and start to put in that list of kids that you need. And you make your list, and then when you're ready, you can just highlight those, do Control Copy, and then come back over to your Request tab, select the line, and do Paste, and then those names will pop up. So that's a real easy trick to get a large number of students requested without individually finding their names on each of these pull downs. So just a little trick for you. I had played around with Joe Cook earlier, so you can see I tried to get Joe, but he's already requested by Anderson. So I wouldn't be able to get him on Friday, August 31st, because it looks like he's already requested by Anderson. So if I wanted to request Joe, I would need to call Heidi and say, hey Heidi, I really need to get Joe in for the string quartet. Can I please have him? And if she says yes, I can hit Submit Request. And I should have a pop-up box that says, oh, wait a second, Joe Cook's already been requested. I'll give it a second here. Right there is already assigned to Anderson. Are you sure you want to do this? And if Heidi gives me permission, I'll hit yes. If she says, nope, I need him, then I'd have to hit no. So let's just say Heidi gave me permission, and my script should finish. And you can see now all of those people are requested by Bockelman. I'm going to go ahead and clear this out because Jerry probably doesn't want that on there. Okay? So that's how you request students. And then once you're done with the form, I would always clear it out, just so you know it's done. Okay, now let's say I made a mistake. Shoot. I cannot remember, A, who I requested, and B, I don't think I wanted to request all those students. So let's go back over here. And, okay, I know I was in intervention and reteach. I know it was for Mr. Bockelman. That's my class. And I know it was for 831. Who did I request? Oh, there they are. So I requested Jose, Ava, Elise, and Joe. Oh, you know what? I decided I do not want Ava and Elise anymore. That's too many kids for me. So I'm going to come over here. I'll type in their names. So there's Ava, and there's Elise. I no longer want those students, so I'm going to put them in my cancel request. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. And it's running script. It says it's finished the script. And what we should see momentarily is now those students have disappeared, which means they are no longer requested to me on 831 for Mr. Bockelman. They will be cleared out of the sheets and another teacher could request them. However, I can see that I still have Jose and Joe coming to meet with me on that day. So that's a nice little trick for you to use to see who you requested and then to cancel any of those students. And you can do that, when a kid comes in. Let's say Joe comes in to Mr. Bockelman on 831 and he actually has his work done. Mr. Bockelman could cancel that request and send Joe back up to his homeroom. There's a couple other tabs over here that I want to talk about. The work list. The work list is something that when I put in missing assignments, and right now we're having a little bit of issue with that because PowerSchool changed their reporting type, so I'm working on that. But let's say I wanted to know in my homeroom, and let's say I'm Dr. Arnone again, I wanted to know who had missing assignments. I populate those fields appropriately, so homeroom and Arnone, and once that work list is put in by me, what would happen is Dr. Arnone would have student names here, that would show up. It would tell them what missing assignment they have and for who they have it. And that way, as a homeroom teacher, Dr. Arnone can say, hey, you know what, Jose, you've got a missing assignment in Mr. Bockelman's class. It looks like it's the map of the world. So you need to be working on that right now during homeroom. Or you need to bring that tomorrow to work on it. So this is a quick way to, rather than going to PowerSchool and searching each student, especially like on advisory Mondays, during Little Hawk time, during that structured study hall, is to just pull up your homeroom and say, here's who has missing assignments, and have a conversation with them about those missing assignments. If you have any comments that you want to put in here, you could say like, talked to Joe, Jose about missing map, will bring tomorrow. If I could spell. You can type that in and hit save comments. And it will save that comment on here, so when you pull up your homeroom list, you can remind yourself, oh yeah, I did talk to Jose. Jose, remember I talked to you? You were supposed to bring that missing map. And it's not going to let me enter the comment right now just because I don't have a student name here. So, but when you are up and this work list actually reports, you will be able to save that comment. We talked about the clipboards, so you know how to do that. A custom group list. This is something that will be new to staff. If you want to create a custom group, so let's say I want to create, let's see, a group of students that struggled on an assessment, and I know I'm going to be pulling them in, you know, the next couple of weeks on Tuesdays. So again, pull down menu works just like we showed you. Type in the student's name. You're going to create this custom group. Okay, what am I going to call this? I'm going to call this Global Studies 1. Okay, so it's going to be called the same thing because these kids are going to be in the same group. The teacher is Bockelman. Let's say they all are in period 1. And day, let's say they're all, well, they're AB. So we're going to put AB here because they're A and B days. So I've created this custom group here. Then what I can do is, what I'm going to do is go back to my work list that we were just in. Remember, initially we were looking at by homeroom. You'll notice in this pull-down menu, there's also custom group. I'm going to click custom group. I'm going to come over here. I created a custom group. It was called Global Studies 1. And I'm going to click that. And what should happen... All right, well, something's up with this function. It worked yesterday, but essentially we'll get it up and going. But just so you know the gist of it, you create your custom group so you see what it is. When you come back over to your work list tab down here, you should click on custom group, and then it should have a pull-down menu of your custom groups that you have created. And so you would click this, and what should happen is that a list of those students should populate right here so you can see, oh, and that's why it's not working because I don't have any missing assignments in. So what would happen is my students here, Joe, Ava, and Elise, would show up on this work list again, and if they had any missing assignments, they would show up, and it would tell me what the missing assignments are for that Global Studies class. Now, if they don't have any missing assignments, then they're not going to show up. And since it's the beginning of the year, and I wasn't able to pull that report, they're not going to show up because they're caught up. But once students in those custom groups know that or have information put in about missing assignments, and you want to check on those custom groups because you know these are struggling students or students that you, like I said, on a pre-assessment know you want to keep an eye on, then they will populate to show you what missing work they do have. So that's how you create custom groups. And then you go back here and you can just, you know, you can add another group. So let's say I want to put Amador in one, Jose, I'm just going to Weaver, Balderas. These three, I want to call them Global Studies 2, and I'm going to, you know, keep that the name there. A quick trick, too, is you can pull this down and it will populate. Make sure you change those numbers. And then I can pull down Bockelman here. Let's say they have period 2. Again, sorry, this should be AB. They meet on AB days. I'm going to have that group as well, just to show how that works. Now, I'm not going to actually have the names populate because we don't have anything in, but as long as I hit custom groups, I should see now that that other group is in there. So when those students do have missing work, it will populate for them based on that group that you have created. Anytime you want to clear those out, you just go in here and just, just go in here and we're going to clear these names out, clear this out, and then clear this out, and everything else right here, except for the gray, will disappear on its own. So that is how you do that custom groups. We're not going to do a DNF list right now, so I would just put that at the very end of my tabs. Oops, move that over there, because I'm not going to really use that very much. The student lookup, you shouldn't need to use either, so I would just go ahead and put that at the end. So the tabs that you're really going to use a lot are your homeroom schedule. You're going to want to see that. Your requesting students,